Welcome back to another edition of Hafeman Brothers Talking Packers. 11-3, 11-3, and the playoffs are back. Woo, Brother Ben. Now, I know there's some stuff to be a little frustrated about, and we'll get into some of that, and we'll get those things out like we always do. We call it straight here. It's not just all sunshine and rainbows. But the big thing is the Packers are 11-3, leading the division, firmly planted in the number 2 spot as long as they can continue on the path. And they just qualified for the playoffs thanks to the Dallas Cowboys. So we got to feel pretty good about our Packers with all those things in play, especially after the last couple of years.
Amen, brother. 11-3 playoffs. Who would have thought that in July? Nobody. Nobody.
And if you say you did, you're lying. You are lying.
You're a liar. I don't care who you are. No freaking way. No way. So, yeah, pretty awesome. I'm happy with that.
And we talked about this before, too. You know, I brought it up, and I think you agreed with me because we agree all the time, Nick. The thing is, this year's Packers team, different than some other year's Packers teams, where I think the cold and the field conditions at Lambeau are a better fit for this team than it has been in quite some time. So getting a home playoff game, I think, means a lot more this year than it did in some other years. Because you could see it evident in this game, this matchup against the Bears, by how well the offensive line protected. And the neutralizer there is the field conditions for those faster pass rushers. That alone, that factor alone, helps them so much. If they can keep there, at least number 2, and still have an outside chance at number 1. I know last week you said Looney Tunes to me, but this week I think it's getting a little closer to being less Looney Tunes, thanks to the Atlanta Falcons for beating the 49ers.
That's the thing, dude. You never know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
I mean, Atlanta, I never saw that coming either. So, yeah, the Packers could get the number 1 seed. There's a chance. In the past, because the offense was so heavy in downfield passing game and that sort of thing, and scored a bunch of points. Sometimes the Lambeau weather in January was actually a detriment. And like you're saying now, they have a balanced attack. They're running the ball a lot more. A lot of these teams that have made it to the playoffs already, like the Saints, the 49ers, even Seattle, and also the Vikings, who looks like they're probably going to be in, either play in domes or play in warm weather stadiums, or in the case of Seattle, it's outdoors and it's kind of north, but it's not nearly as cold as it is in Lambeau. So all those teams that have to come into Lambeau at some point, hopefully, and that's a huge advantage. I think the Saints could be neutralized at Lambeau. I think even the 49ers could be neutralized in at Lambeau. The only team that actually really would scare me would be the Vikings with the running game and the play action passes, which still work really well, especially with, because the defense is going to be worried about the run and they got to stop it. And then also Seattle.
Yeah, the Seahawks are
with Russell Wilson running around all over the stinking place, and he's running around, and then throws it up to somebody and they get lucky. So those are the 2 teams that would scare me in Lambeau.
Best case scenario for the Packers is that the 49ers beat the Seahawks and then lose to the Rams, because that gives the Seahawks 1 more loss. And then the Rams, if they give the 49ers 1 more loss, then the Packers and they keep winning. The Packers win out. That's the number 1 seed right there. So
we still got 2 more weeks, and everything's probably going to get all jumbled and moved around anyways. But
there's a lot.
Who knows?
There's a lot going to happen. And the big thing is Packers are back in the playoffs for the first time in 3 seasons, so we're happy about that. So there's a lot of people that griped about the game. A lot of people didn't like how, they like parts of it. They didn't like the inconsistencies. They didn't like, they thought they should have blown them out once they got up 21-3 and all this stuff. But I'm telling you, this was a different kind of game. The Bears pulled out all the stops in this game. They went for it on 4th down all the time. They were loading up defensively. They were going for it. They realized that if they didn't win this game, their season was done. So they played like it. And so you have to also factor that in when you're thinking about how the Packers still won this game. And in the end, it's about winning. It's about winning games. And we've talked about this before in the show. Every week is different. Case in point, the Packers get destroyed by San Francisco. This past week, San Francisco loses to a 4-win Atlanta Falcons team. You don't know what's going to happen every week. Every week is different. And you don't know how each team's going to play. And the big neutralizer and a huge, huge swing in every game is turnovers. And what have the Packers been great at all year? Turnover differential, and most importantly, not giving the ball away on offense. That's a huge factor in winning games, and the Packers do that very, very well.
The difference in this game was the Packers needed a play, and it happened. And those 3 plays were 2 on offense and 1 on defense.
Give me some good stuff. Give me some good plays. Go ahead.
The 4th down touchdown was one of those things where they got lined up and they had 2 receivers on both sides of the line of scrimmage, and Rodgers didn't like it and called a timeout or something, right? They came back and they went to that 3 wide receivers on one side of the field and Jimmy Graham, tight end, on the other side, which they do a lot. Rodgers changed the play for Devontae to just run straight, to just juke your guy and go. And it was just a perfect pass. Devontae beat his guy on the line of scrimmage. He was single covered. Ha was nowhere to be seen. He didn't get over there in time.
Ha.
Right. Now, I listened to Chris Sims' podcast yesterday, and he was talking about on that particular play, the Bears just had a single high safety with Ha. And I think Lazard was lined up inside Devontae, and he ran like a deep slant route or sort of thing to the inside, which is kind of what froze Ha for a second. And that's kind of what led enough room for Rodgers to get that pass in there to Devontae on that 4th and 4 touchdown. So, yeah, Devontae, it looks like Ha kind of screwed up, but it was the way the 2 routes ran together with Lazard kind of taking Ha over toward the middle a little more and Devontae beating his guy to the outside of him that let Rodgers throw it over the top and took the free safety out of the play. And it was a crazy play on 4th down, and they're going for it. They did it a lot in this game. Even like you said, the Bears went for a 4th down. Packers went for a 4th down like 3-4 times. So, I mean, I like it. Like, how many times Mike McCarthy wouldn't go for a 4th down 3 times in a year, much less 3 times in a game. So I'm very happy about that.
That was a Mike excited thing, though. Remember, Mike Holmgren would punt from the 32-yard line on 4th and 1 or whatever. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, that's because he had Brett Favre, dude. Brett Favre, who knows what he would have done?
It's true.
But it's one of those things where, I mean, that was a huge play.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, they needed that touchdown. They needed to get on the board.
All right, I gotta go off on something real quick because I watched a couple of national media shows. I watched the First Take show. I watched First Things First. Not the whole show, but I caught clips of it. And a lot of their discussion was about Aaron Rodgers and how he's, they're talking about this Packers team because Aaron Rodgers after the game said something about how he doesn't really think they have the respect of the league. And all this stuff based on how they've gotten beat badly a couple times. And, some of the teams they have beaten have not been very good and hasn't been that impressive and all that stuff. Okay. Which is fair and fine. And then a bunch of these people are making this argument and they're like, oh, and so, but they're winning and they're 11-3 and they're doing it without Rodgers playing well. He's just not playing that well. And I'm thinking the thing from this game, well, you know me, and people that know me and know me about football know that the thing I hate more than anything is dropped passes. Throwing the football accurately and where you need to and deciphering all that stuff, but especially throwing the football is much harder than catching the football. You should not drop the damn ball. You are a receiver. That is your main job. And yes, this team asks receivers to block too, but catch the ball. Okay? I'm not going to go on this forever, but man, that just burns me like crazy. And I was never, I played football in high school and I played tight end for a while. I don't understand how these guys with big hands, a ton of athleticism, and sticky gloves cannot catch the ball sometimes. It makes no sense. And those drops are as bad as a turnover almost. Because most of the time, drop passes are drive killers. Even if they don't happen on third down, that was an opportunity for a big play like the opening play to Valdez-Scantling, and you drop it and you short arm it. This stuff makes me nuts. Anyway, I'm not going to go on any more about that. Just catch the ball. Don't drop the ball anymore. I'm so tired of it. And that's why Geronimo has to be seeing much less time, and MVS has to be seeing much less time, and we need Lazard, and we need Kumaro, and we need Devontae. But even though he had 2 drops in this game, we still need him. So Devontae catch the damn ball. Jimmy Graham catch the ball when you're out there. All that stuff. Anyway, catch it. Okay. Point being, getting back to where I was going, is that factor in those drop passes. What will people say about Aaron Rodgers in this game? That's 4 more completions, more than 100 more yards, 1 or 2 more touchdowns, and drives that didn't die and end, so who knows how much more there would have been. Those drop passes affect the flow of the offense, the production of the offense, and make the quarterback look terrible when they shouldn't. Because if they don't drop those passes in that game, Aaron Rodgers, you're saying how great of a game he had. And think about drops in other games as well this season. So, anyway, take all that perspective. I get it. Every team has drops, physical errors. I'll hear all that crap. I don't care. Your receiver catch the damn ball. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Well, I'm going to say something here.
Go ahead.
That kind of leads off from that is it also has to do with targets, which is one of the things I want to talk about this game.
Ah, yes.
After the game, one of the reporters, I don't know who, well, I think it was Jason Wilde, who knows, they asked Rodgers, they're like, well, it seems like on the drives you guys got things going and that you targeted Devontae a lot and you ran Aaron Jones. Is that the key for your offense to be successful, is to target Devontae, get him the ball, target him a lot and run Aaron Jones? And Rodgers said, yeah, we got to get the ball to Devontae, and yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, yes, we do have to get the ball to Devontae, but we don't need to target him 13 times and a bunch of them when he's double covered, or wait for him to try to get open when he's double covered, and then hold the ball for 25 years when there's other guys that are open. I'm going to talk about the targets in this game, which also led to some of the drops in this game. Devontae Adams had 13 targets. 13 targets. He only had 7 catches, and 2 of them were drops. The next highest amount of targets, Geronimo Allison, Jimmy Graham.
Ooh.
Both had 4 targets. Both had 4 targets. Jimmy Graham had 1 catch on 4 targets. Geronimo had 2 catches on 4 targets.
And a drop.
So it's 11 incompletions from throwing to 3 different guys. Geronimo, I'll throw in MVS in there too, because he's 0 for 1 on his drop that he should have caught if he wouldn't have slowed down and then alligator armed it. So that's 12 incompletions to those 4 particular players. One of them, Devontae, he's your best player, but he gets double teamed a lot. And, sometimes that happens. You get high volume targets, and sometimes he doesn't catch it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But he had a little bit of a rough game there, dropping balls, whatever. But he also had a great game. Rodgers was 16 out of 33. But that's 12 incompletions to those four players.
Yep.
Now let's take a look at the other guys.
Who was missing?
Lazard.
Who was missing, Ben?
Lazard had 3 attempts, 2 completions. Tanyan had 1 completion on 2 attempts. And then Kumaro, 1 completion, 1 attempt, 49 yards, like 7 broken tackles, huge play. That was one of my 3 plays that I said were huge plays for the Packers. The first was the 4th down touchdown.
Yep.
The last one was the Jake Kumaro crazy catch and run. Now, this is a very interesting thing. They talked to Kumaro after the game, and they asked him about the play. And he said, I was just doing my job on the play. My job is to run upfield and pull the guys off of Devontae so he can get the pass. So actually that play call was supposed to go to Devontae. But Devontae the guy came down on him and covered him. And then Rodgers threw it to Kumaro instead, which is awesome. And Kumaro said he wasn't expected to get the pass thrown to him on that play. He says, but I turned around and there it was already in the air. So he's like, oh, all right, sweet. So he grabbed it, juked the guy out of his shorts. So the guy fell down and ran for a whole bunch of yards, right?
Well, that first guy coming was, you guessed it.
Was it ha-ha falling on the ground? That was awesome.
It was ha-ha. It was ha-ha, baby.
But I thought that was very interesting that Kumro was on that route. He was not running a route to get open. He was running a route to get Devontae open. So even on his one attempt and completion, he wasn't even supposed to get that. Are they even calling plays for these guys? And then let's talk about the big elephant in the room. 0 attempts passing to Aaron Jones, who for long stretches of the game wasn't in there. And when he was in there, they had him pass protecting for some stupid reason. I understand he's gotten better at pass protection. This game, not very good pass protection.
Well, he's better at catching the ball and doing something with it, right?
Yes, he's way better at catching the ball and doing something with it. Keep Jimmy Graham in there to help protect passing. Don't let him go out and run because he's not going to do anything with it. Aaron Jones will do things with it. The problem with these drop passes and the fact that Aaron Rodgers has had under 250 yards passing almost every game for the last 5 games. I think there's only one game where he had over 250 yards passing.
Mm-hmm.
It's because he's throwing to the wrong guys. The wrong guys are in the game. They're calling plays for the wrong guys. Kumro got a ball thrown to him on a play that wasn't called for him. Luckily for us, because he ran for 49 yards into the 5-yard line, and Jones ran a touchdown in after that. That's the problem. And whether it's Matt LaFleur not calling the right plays, or if it's Aaron Rodgers not throwing to the guys when they're open and waiting for Devontae to try to get open, because he does it all the time. And then when he does, he throws 13 attempts to Devontae. 13 pass attempts to Devontae. 1 to Kumro. 0 to Aaron Jones. Danny Vitale, where is the spider? Why banana?
Oh, damn.
Give me some frickin' something out of the backfield.
I know.
What is going on?
I mean, what you just said there, though, is the big thing. With as much as they've had success using the running backs in the pass game at times this year, to not have them at all involved in this game makes 0 sense. It just makes no sense. And then on top of it, when you have Devontae Adams getting that many balls, and yes, you need him. Like, yes, I get it. He's a focal point for your passing game. But you're exactly correct. Sorry, Nick, I got to agree again. Jake Kumro, Allen Lazard are the next 2 guys that you need to have in the game most of the time, and they need to get the ball thrown to them as well. Because Kumro showed you, and Lazard too, with his running style, his body size, the colder it gets, the harder it is to tackle as well. And these little...
They break tackles.
Right. These smaller D-backs don't want to tackle these big guys, and they have more agility, and they're stronger and they're bigger, whereas Geronimo catches it, he's going to fall down. MVS, if he actually catches it, he's going to get tackled or fall down. Those guys are not breaking tackles. But guess who is? Jake Kumro, Allen Lazard. Those 2 guys, they're physically the guys you need in that kind of game and that kind of weather to be integral in your pass game. So get him in there.
The weird thing is, too,
get him the ball.
Listen, Nagler asked LaFleur on Monday's press conference, he asked him, hey, it seems like every time you pass the ball to Kumro, he makes a play. Shouldn't he be in the game more? And maybe like Geronimo and MVS, who are having a rough year, maybe they are not supposed to be in there as much. He straight up asked him that.
Yep.
Matt LaFleur, this is exactly what he said. He said, that's funny. We were just talking about how we got to get Kumro in the game more. Then, right after he says that, he says, well, Geronimo, he's a key player, and he had a big on Aaron Jones' 21-yard touchdown run. Geronimo had a great block on he was blocking a linebacker on that play that sprung Aaron Jones for that touchdown.
Yeah, and he did.
And I'm like, okay, maybe he did, and he did, but Kumro can do that. He showed it last week.
Yep, and so can Lazard.
And the difference is Kumro can do that, and he can catch the ball and break tackles and make plays.
Yep.
Where Geronimo's dropping balls, not breaking tackles, and that's the thing that is so frustrating to me. Like, what is going on? We talk about it all the time. Do you want to win the game?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to make it to the playoffs and have your best players out there, the guys that will run your offense to the best possible way and win the game? And he says it all the time. How many times do you see a press conference with him and like, hey, Aaron Jones didn't get any targets this week or last week or the week before that? And then he's like, oh, yeah, we got to get Aaron Jones the ball more. And then he's not in there forever. And then when he is in there, they got him freaking pass protecting. And then in the fourth quarter, they're running the ball on first down, run the ball on second down. And then, like you said, they're passing on third down, but it's not a play action pass or anything.
Well, that was the thing that drove me up a wall. So everybody was saying how, okay, they got to 21-3, and the frustrating part for me was I was watching the game with Nick this week, and he's like, all right, he's like, what's going to happen is the Bears are going to get another touchdown. They're going to make it interesting, and then the Packers are still going to win. So he didn't know exactly how it was going to unfold. I'm sure he didn't predict what actually did happen at the end of the game, which was totally insane. But he did say what the final would be, and that's exactly what happened. However, the last 5 drives, the Packers punted. 3 and out and punted, right? Or maybe they got 1 first down and then punted. I can't remember. And they line up to run.
I think it was 3. It was 3 and outs. It was a lot of 3 and outs.
3 and outs, but it was 5 punts to end the game. And all they did was they were like, well, we're up 21-3, so we're going to run. We're going to run clock. We're going to run clock. And the Bears geared up. Like I said, they were going for it here. They knew this was their last-ditch effort. So they were playing the run. I mean, they had corners blitzing. They had everybody coming up to play the run, making these plays. The running backs had 0 chance. And I understand you want to run clock, but that is the absolute perfect time to run a play-action pass. Yet they did not do it. The only time they passed was in third down when they gained no yards on first and second down. And they didn't even pass on some of the third downs, but a couple of ones they did in obvious pass situations. And then they still lined up as if it were a pass, rather than maybe lining up with a run look and doing a play action pass. But they didn't even try it one time. All they needed, one of those last 2 possessions, get a first down, and you got the game. And you don't even try a play action pass? That's insane. That makes no sense at all. And if you will watch the whole game, all the big pass plays, all the really good pass plays, aside from the one to Kumaro, were all play-action pass plays. The ones where Devontae got really open, play action, play action, play action.
Yeah, and he ran all the way across the middle of the field.
Yes.
Yeah, that was an awesome play, too.
That's what play action does. It makes it so much easier because the guys react to it. It slows down the rush. The linebackers come up. There's more space between the safeties freeze for a minute, which HaHa's going to do anyway, so you get even more of a freeze. Like, it's the best thing ever, dude. Play action pass works almost every single time. And the fact you didn't try it on one of your last 5 drives, and especially not even one time on first or second down during your last 2 possessions when all you needed was 1 first down to salt the game away, and you didn't have to make all of us almost lose our minds on that last insane lateral play. You could have saved us all. You could have saved. I know, but they could have saved us all of that, right? By just doing 1 play action pass. And actually, you should have done at least 1 a possession, and you would have moved the ball, and you would have got first downs. So come on, Matt LaFleur. Come on, man. I know you want the fan base to be excited and keep it interesting, but it doesn't have to be that interesting. I would be fine being a little more relaxed at the end of the game.
Well, okay, so we should be positive here.
I am positive. I'm really excited, but
Aaron Jones, Aaron Jones, 2 touchdowns. He only had 50-some yards, but he only had 13 carries. So he still had a 3.9-yard average, which is not very good for Aaron Jones, but it's good for a running back, especially against the Bears defense, who was got Hicks back. And he was destroying some guys there. He was like going crazy and blowing stuff up and
that
screaming
guy,
and yelling. And
that guy is a monster. That guy is. I mean, they found him. I think he played in Canada or something before, and they somehow found him. Like, that guy is a mammoth man, and he's fast. I mean, he is a beast. Oh, that guy is a great find. Holy crap.
Yeah. I was getting scared at first because he was just destroying stuff up there, but they found a way to move the ball when they needed to. The other thing that I thought was really good, the defense did a decent job stopping the run. They got pressure on Trubisky. Sometimes he got out of the pocket and made some plays, but they sacked him a couple times. Even Gary got a sack. That was like, holy cow, what's going on here? Kenny Clark got some pressure. Zadarius Smith, somebody said something about Zadarius Smith, like he doesn't show up in the stat sheet after this game, but he did, like if they had a stat called screw the play up, he kind of did that a lot against the Bears.
Well, and
he was like lined up kind of all weird. He just like the big play we're going to talk, you want to talk about the Dean Lowry play, I'll have you talk about that.
Well, I want to say this though. Did you hear this?
Zadarius got pressure up the middle, man, and that was what kind of led to that.
Did you hear?
Get the ball out quick.
Did you see his interview? Their interview after the game.
No.
One thing he said in the interview was he had to convince Pettin to let them run that look. Because he even said it. He's like, I went up to Coach and I was like, Coach, we got to run this look. It's going to get me a one-on-one against the center. And he's like, we got to run it. We got to run it. So that was a case of Zadarius Smith telling his defensive coordinator, we got to run this play because we need a big play here and we need to generate some pressure. And that play, the Dean Lowry interception, after that, the game should have been over. Right? That should have been it. That was a huge momentum play. Yep. But Zadarius Smith had to convince Mike Pettin to let him run that look. So he did get to line up over the center. He got all the pressure. Dean Lowry made the play to catch it. And that's going to cycle me all the way back around to what I just vented about a little bit. Sorry, I'm not trying to be negative. But if there was ever a moment to run a play-action pass, it was right after that play. You got all the momentum. Dean Lowry makes a huge play. The Bears are gearing up to stop the run, right? You hit him with a play action right there. Game's over. So anyway, hopefully the Packers learn from that. Hopefully they learn from that. That's what I'm hoping. Man, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The Bears are moving the ball, and that Dean Lowry's pick with the pressure from Zadarius was a huge play. Like if that wouldn't have happened, they needed that turnover because they were getting gashed.
Absolutely.
And the Packers we kept getting like 3 and out. The Packers defense was on the field so many times it was ridiculous. And they needed to get some kind of turnover or some kind of play to at least give them a break for a while. And they did it. And they're 11-3, and everybody's like, oh, what's going on here? What's going on here? Like, why is, they're not moving the ball on this play? But then the defense makes plays, and then they win. And you got games like Kansas City where they're getting gashed and they're got guys wide open or whatever. But then Aaron Jones has a crazy game, and they win. And you play against the Giants, right? And Aaron Jones got a crazy game, and the defense holds their own. They get a bunch of turnovers because the guy's throwing picks left and right, right? Tremont makes that great pick. They win. Every week, they're winning a different way, but they keep winning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's exciting. What do you think is going to happen here in the next week and leading into the playoffs? Are they going to be able to recognize what we're seeing or not?
Well,
you said something to me earlier today about what LaFleur said in his press conference. Why don't you bring that up? Because that scares me a little bit.
It worries me too because it's the same thing. You remember Mike McCarthy would say that big plays. He thought big plays were one of the fundamentals of football, and that's why they went for so many big plays at weird times.
Yeah.
Matt LaFleur has been on the mic numerous times this year talking about explosive plays, how they need those explosive plays. And he said on Monday following the game, it's imperative we get chunk plays. It's imperative to scoring points. And then some reporters followed up and asked him, like, so don't you think, I mean, you see other teams like the Saints, you see other teams like the Patriots for years, maybe not so much this year, but how many times did Tom Brady throw to his running backs? How many times did Drew Brees throw to Alvin Kamara and guys short, and they just methodically work the ball down the field? And yes, it's harder in a way because it means you can't screw up, like you can't have a big holding penalty or you can't do things to shoot yourself in the foot. But it also means you're getting a great rhythm. And with LaFleur's focus on big plays, and that also being from McCarthy, and you can tell Aaron Rodgers is looking for big plays a lot. Now, whether that's was in him innately from the beginning, or if that's more of a coached thing that's been in there for years and years and years, and now it's staying in there because LaFleur's saying the same thing. And obviously the big plays are great, and they make things scoring easier. But they're a lot harder to come by than the guy that's open for a quick slant, or the guy that's open in the flat, or the guy that's open after there's a clear out over the middle, right? How many times do we see guys open over the middle against the Packers? The Packers can do that too. So that concerns me, but the thing that I look at is everything we just talked about is the answers are simple, right? The answers aren't, oh my God, this team has no chance in fixing this or making it to the point where they can really click and really hum, the answers are have the right guys in the game. Accept what you are. Accept what you're seeing. They talked about, Geronimo, how he's shown it, how he's done it in past years. I understand he earned Aaron Rodgers' trust right away as a rookie and all this stuff. I also understand MVS, had a good start and he's made some plays, but he's been really inconsistent. And I know he's fast, but understand this is what these guys are doing right now. And they also talked about how Valdez-Scantling has kept working hard and he's been having great practices and he's, not had a bad attitude, even with reduced snaps. And that's great. Okay, great. That's what he should be doing. He's a professional. But in the games, he's not producing. In the games, Geronimo is not producing. In the games, you have two other receivers that are clearly producing at a much higher rate when they're given opportunities. And having those guys in the game more, Allen Lazard, Jake Kumaro, that instantly makes you better. That fixes half of the issues. And then just being like, hey, guess what? When we were thrown to our backs, it worked great. Let's do that again. So the positive here is that all the answers are right there for them. They don't have to go out and sign somebody. I saw some crap about, the Packers need Odell Beckham Jr. No, they don't need anybody else. The only guy I'd take right now is Jordy off the farm if he wanted to come back for a late season push because he knows how to play in the cold. I mean, can you imagine some of these guys they never played in weather this cold before, right? For some of these guys, that was probably their first experience in weather that cold, trying to catch the football, trying to do stuff. But the answers are there, and it's easy. Okay, it's those simple things, and it's use the backs, make it easy, and then, like you said, Devontae's got to be an integral part of the offense, but it doesn't have to be to this degree. You got to utilize the whole field. Make the defense defend the whole field. That's really important. So the positive is all the answers are there for them, and they can totally do it, and they can hang with anybody in this postseason. They can completely do that. I have no doubt at all that they can beat any of these teams, and if they get them to come to Lambeau and it slows down the other team's pass rush, that's a huge advantage for the Packers.
The other thing is big plays can happen without having to throw the ball downfield 40 yards.
Yes.
I mean, you can do screen passes that turn into big plays. You can run the ball. You can scheme certain things, or sometimes guys just catch a ball and then break a bunch of tackles. They seem to think big plays are throwing the ball downfield all the time. That's a big play. You want to have a big play or throw the ball downfield? No. Scheme a guy open. Devontae had a big play on it, like you said, on a play action. He ran like a 10-yard slant, and he took off for 40-some yards, right?
Yep.
That was a big play. I mean, really, in this game, there were no. I think that's the thing that everybody is kind of getting fired up about, and they just kind of said that Rodgers didn't have a good game. There were no connections downfield in this game.
There were a lot more run after the catch.
Run after
yards.
the catch.
Yeah, with Kumero's play. Kumero's play was like 49 yards, was probably about 20 in the air. So and Devontae's too. Devontae's was 37 yards, but that was probably like a 10-yard pass. But
that's probably why people are saying it doesn't look. It didn't look like Rodgers had a great game, but he doesn't have to throw 40-yard bombs all the time.
No.
Just throw to the open guy, and maybe he'll make a guy miss, or a defender will slip, or Clinton Dix will be on the other team, something like that.
Yeah, he had some classic moments in this game, and I gotta say, it was good to see him in a Bears uniform doing that stuff. Versus,
dude, I was watching. I don't know where I found something on YouTube. It was like a Bears roundtable thing after the game with a bunch of former players.
With Olin Kurtz and
Matt Forte.
Yeah,
and
I saw some of that too. That was really good. That was like a big step up from the Packers Cover 2 show. That was way better than the Packers Cover 2 show.
Yeah, and it was and they were talking about they were saying they're like, man, we just need Amos. That's what they said. They're like, we should have never let Amos go. That's what they kept saying. And they're like, they're trying to make Jackson, who's their big play free safety, play strong safety. and he's just out of position there. They need to keep him back where he was able to roam and make plays. And what they did was when the Bears let Amos go and they signed Clinton Dix, they put Clinton Dix back as free safety, and they're trying to make Eddie Jackson be more of a playmaker, around the line of scrimmage and that kind of stuff. And he's not as good because he's a smaller guy, so he's not. They take advantage of him in the run game and some things like that. And sometimes he's kind of out of position or something. They're talking about that, and they were saying how much they missed Amos on the team, and it just makes me feel so much better that the Packers actually went and got Amos. A solid guy who knows what's going on. But these guys were like, listen, that was so early in the game. Like the Bears had chances and chances and chances of winning, and they just couldn't do it. That they also were talking about the last play. I don't know if you want to talk about the last play now.
No.
I kind of want to talk about that.
Give me one more follow up here. The one thing, because I have to mention, I got to throw a shout out to an old coach of mine. So back a couple years ago, I was finally sick of it. I couldn't take Clinton Dix anymore on the Packers, and it was driving me up a wall. And I put a post out on Facebook about it. And someone I had not heard from in forever, and certainly didn't expect to be commenting on my post, commented, and it was one of my old football coaches, Pete Swoboda. So he was a D-backs coach in high school, and I wasn't a defensive back or anything, but I knew Pete, and we whatever. He was a coach. He was one of our coaches. And anyway, he's like, I said, I just kind of broke down what I'd seen and what I observed and what I thought about Clinton Dix, and he's like, you are spot on. That guy needs to go. And then I also got a follow-up from a couple other people I knew growing up. And I was like, okay. And then here I pop online during the game, and there's Pete, and he puts out a quick thing. He's like, "Man, I sure am glad Clinton Dix isn't on our team anymore after a couple of these plays." And so I kind of got back in with comments about him. I'm like, I know. Did you see that? So the thing, he did the same thing he always does, where if you go back and look at some of those big plays the Packers had in the run game and in some of the passing games, is he's sitting there with no other responsibility, and it's almost like he's frozen, like he just doesn't know how to diagnose an attack, which he never did. And so he waits. He just waits. And then by the time he starts to run, he's already behind the guy. And that allowed Aaron Jones a big run. It allowed Devontae Adams way more on that pass play than he should have got, because the safety should be coming up on that play, diagnosing and hammering that guy. And it was just a clear indicator. So all these people that sat there and called him a Pro Bowler and talked about how could the Packers trade away a Pro Bowler and blah, blah, blah. And then all the Bears fans and all the Bears people who thought they were so great by letting Amos go and picking him up, well, you're realizing what he is. He is an overrated first-round pick that somehow started for the Packers way too long, and now he's your problem. So good luck with that, but we will take twice a year. I will take playing him twice a year. If the Bears are going to keep him on the field and start him and have him out there playing that deep safety spot, we will take it because it benefits the Packers offense a ton, and it did in this last game. So thank you, Again, the best thing you ever did as a Packer was the jelly bean roulette.
You jelly bean roulette, dude. What's up with that?
That was a great video. He did fantastic at it. Kirk Cousins was also in that same year of the jelly bean roulette. He also did jelly bean roulette that year. One of your favorite guys, Kirk Cousins, leading into our Vikings talking a little bit with Viking Moe coming up as part two. Part two. So we're gonna have two separate episodes this week because it's such a big game and it's Monday night. So we're gonna have this recap show with Hafeman Brothers, and then we're gonna have a second show, bonus show with Viking Moe. Yes.
Hey, do we do our listener of the week yet? I can't remember if we
super fan of the week. We're gonna have two of them this week. We'll do one on the Viking side, and the main super fan was the one I gave a hard time to last week. Sorry, I love you more than anybody in the world. Super fan of the week is Mom this week. Mom, super fan of the week. Love you, Mom. Sorry I gave you a hard time last week.
You gave her a hard time?
Well, I said that stuff about she didn't laugh when I was saying stuff and laugh more when you were saying stuff, and I don't know.
Not a hard time.
Well, I didn't want to make her feel
That's
bad.
just true. I'm funny and you're not funny. There's nothing you can do about
Yes,
that. It's genetics.
I know this. I know this. I've had to accept it. But Mom was.
I get it from Dad. He's funny too.
Mom brings me right to the thing you wanted to talk about because she sent me a text after that last play.
Oh yeah.
Whew, she was definitely worked up after that one. How about you?
Well, listen. Yes, it was pretty bad, but I'm just saying we got to talk about Superfan a little more here.
Oh, Superfan. Okay, go ahead.
It's
Superfan.
Superfan here. We got to get on the Superfan. Mom.
All right, Mom is awesome.
Is somebody who, listen, she's going to be there.
Yeah.
Even if we suck, she has no choice. She's our mom. She's been there the whole time. She'll listen to us. She'll promote us. She'll tell people that we're the best, even though we're not. And those are things you just money can't buy that kind of love. And she knows that if other people would just listen to us, they would love us the way she does. And we could take off, and Hafeman Brothers Talking Packers would be the greatest Packer podcast in the history of all Packer podcasts.
She's always been the most supportive.
That's pretty awesome.
I mean, when anything we did, most supportive person you could ask for. Great, backed us, believed in us, pumped us up. Yeah, Mom
used to drive me to Green Bay every weekend for guitar lessons for like a year. Every weekend, every Saturday. She didn't have to do that. When I was going to audition for the honors choir my sophomore year in high school, I filled it out and I crumpled up, threw it in the garbage. Mom dug it out of the garbage. Yeah, Mom dug it out of the garbage and sent it in anyways. And then I went in and auditioned and made it. But I wasn't going to do it. I was like, I don't got a chance. But Mom believed in me, dug it out, whatever, blah, blah, and then I made it. So that's kind of stuff. Mom's willing to dig into garbage just because she believes in us so much. And that's why she's super fan of the week. Give her another one. Another fart gun salute.
You talk a little bit. I'm going to give her the big one. Ready? So.
Okay, do it.
I'm holding it in. This thing has a giant salute after like a 20-second delay. So once it kicks in, I'm going to let it go. But Mom is awesome. She has been the biggest fan that we could have asked for. And she cares. She cares a ton. Not just about us, but she cares. That's how much we love you, Mom. That's the one. So no, I'm just kidding. That doesn't.
She's got to be embarrassed. I don't think she's going to ever tell anybody about us now. That was embarrassing.
That's if you hold the trigger and it makes something come out, but then it flashes and the light flashes and then it waits. That's where you're supposed to like set it behind a chair, or do something or whatever, and then walk away because it gives you like this 20-second delay, and then it goes crazy and does like almost all the fart sounds it can do, right on top of each other like that, just like a big explosion. So it's kind of fun. Anyway, Mom gets that one. That's reserved for Mom. That's how big of a super fan she is, and we love her, and she's awesome. And she is almost as big a Packer fan as she is a fan of us. So she was sweating it out. Oh, my gosh. She was sweating it out that game.
Yeah, but she's the kind of fan who, like, when things are going wrong, like, she's so superstitious, like, she won't watch the game.
Yep.
If it's, like, a Tuesday, or if it's, like, if something happened the last time they played, she won't do that same thing again because they sucked or whatever. Or they did something really good, so she's going to wear, like, blue socks on that day because last time she wore blue socks, the Packers had a good game. Stuff like that. She's superstitious when it comes to Packers and stuff. And sometimes she's like, she doesn't even want to watch the game.
Yep.
She just listen to it. She's like, sometimes I just want to listen to your dad holler. And I'm like, I don't think anybody wants to do that. But sometimes she's like, I just can't watch. I just get too worked up. I just can't watch. So I just listen for your dad. And if he's yelling, then I know it's bad. And if he's hooting and hollering, then I know it's good. And I was like, okay, I guess that's a way to do it. But I would rather just watch the game than listen to Dad yelling and screaming or hooting and hollering. But, whatever. Do what you got to do.
Oh, man.
But anyways, and there's one thing I want to talk about that last play. This is the thing that bothered me. When you watch that play back again, oh, my gosh. As bad as it was that at the end there, was down to the 2-yard line, and Tremont, luckily, is the only guy around who's smart enough to jump on the ball for some reason. Everybody else just kind of stand around. Before that, when Trubisky got the ball back again, after the first lateral back to him, when you watch the play, there's Kenny Clark, there's Fackrell, I think, a couple other guys, and Preston Smith. They're all kind of just jogging around, like hanging around the ball, hanging around Trubisky. And Preston Smith actually runs into him and almost hugs him and doesn't tackle him. It's almost like he thought the play was over or something. I don't know. But there's like no urgency. And the Packers just got lucky that the guy from Stanford, the tight end, didn't see Allen Robinson out of the corner of his eye over to the right, or else that would have been a touchdown.
Those plays are so weird, right? They never happen. People don't know what to do, and the offense, and even for the Bears, it was not totally practiced well. Like, yeah, they practice scenarios like that, but it's never exactly that way and all that, right? So everybody's just kind of, it's like backyard. They're just trying to keep the ball alive. That was the most insane ending to the game. I'm like, it doesn't have to be this exciting, Packers. Really, I love being a Packers fan, but holy moly, we do not need to make every game this exciting. Please, please, please. I really hope they just want to turn things up here against the Vikings and do the things that make sense and are easy for them offensively, and that the defense continues to play good in the red zone, keeps the other team out, keeps the Vikings off the scoreboard a lot, and then if the offense possesses the ball longer, the defense won't be as tired at the end of the game, and they'll play better. I think those things can all happen for this team with some simple, minor adjustments.
I agree. That is a good segue into our Viking talk. So maybe it's time to get into the next section.
Well, we're going to break this up into 2 totally separate episodes and put them out on different days because these are too long.
Sweet.
Good talk. Packers 11-3 in the playoffs. Don't forget all that stuff. And you know what? Be the fan you want to be, but also be the fan the Packers need you to be, which is a fan that remembers. And if you don't remember this, talk to somebody who was around. Remember the 80s. Remember the late 70s. We don't remember the late 70s too well, but we remember the 80s, and they were rough. And even some of the 90s, especially early on, kind of rough. This team is 11-3, and this is not college football where they rank you on style points. You win the game, you win, and that's all they need. So however they got to do it, this team is showing you that the majority of the time they get it done. So believe in that and hope they clean up the other stuff to make it easier on themselves to win and easier on us as fans so we can enjoy those wins a little more instead of having anxiety at the end of the game till the last tick of the clock, which I would prefer not to have anymore. No, thank you. It was fun, Packers, but let's make it a little easier. So, Brother Ben, we love you. And the Packers, we're happy to be back in the playoffs. Now, Viking Moe, we will talk to him in our second episode of the week coming up real soon. So we'll get this one out to you, and then we'll have our Vikings preview leading up to that big Monday night contest at US Bank Stadium. We'll catch you next week. Well, no, we'll catch you again this week. Uh-huh.